Hi, my name is Richard Capone, the CEO and co-founder of sGoLearn, and today I'm going to show you how to log into your trial account. You should have received an email, and in that email you would have an individual account for you to log in and try out the system, as well as a Sandbox account which is pre-populated with data. I'm going to start off by showing you your specific trial account. So you're going to go into the web browser, go to sGoLearn.com, and then you'll click on Login. And from here, you'll enter in your individual login credentials. Now, the first thing you do when you log in is you have to set up a class. Now, normally, for a regular district account, you would not have to do this. It would automatically be synced. Teachers would have their accounts set up. Classes would come in probably from your SIS. But for the trial account, we need to select something. So I'm just going to go ahead and call it My Class. Or you can call it Trial Class, whatever you want. So you go ahead and add it. And you can go ahead and do the tour if you wanted. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and skip it. Now, once I'm in my class, what you initially need to do if you want to try out the system is to add a student. So I'm going to add a student. Now again, normally for a district user, it would automatically be synced. You wouldn't be adding students, but I'm going to do one now for the trial account. Now you need to add a student, so I'm going to go ahead and just add myself. And I usually like putting in a grade for a student that I want to actually test out. So I'm going to go ahead and say I want to do like a second grader. I'm putting in a fake birth date and Richard test. Okay, and choose a grade. So I said I was going to go ahead and do something as a fifth grader. So I have my student set up. I click Add Student. Okay, student created successfully. Great. So now I come back over to the class tab. I see my student's been created. And now I can go ahead and queue up a test for them. So there's several different ways to do this, but I'm just going to click on the View Queue for the individual student. And from here, you could choose what kind of assessment. If you want to do a fully comprehensive diagnostic like DORA, which is our reading assessment for K-12, you could choose that, or you could choose ADAM, which is our full foundational math assessment. We also have some other assessments, pre-algebra and algebra, and here's are some other language ones as well. We have DORA Spanish, and we have a few others. So these are the comprehensive assessments, probably DORA or ADAM. The other choice is later on, if you wanted to try some individual quizzes, you could, within the very bottom here says skills concept quizzes. I can actually do short vowel. I could actually queue up, an individual test. Or if I wanted to do something like something in mathematics, I could type in fractions and I could see lots of different type of fractions quizzes. Proper, improper fraction, adding unlike denominators. So I can queue up some of those too. Now let's go ahead and just queue up DORA for this student. I hit queue. And now I come back to my class and I'm ready to go. I can hit the begin button, and what it does is it would actually log me out of my teacher account and put me into my student account where I would begin the assessment. All right. Now later on when you're done, the data would show up under the scores and reports, Active Pulse ELA. That's where your reading assessment data would show up, or your Active Pulse math. That's where your math scores would show up. So that is the basics. Now, let me show you something else. If you want to start off by looking at some data, you would go and use the login and password for the Sandbox. So I've already logged in. Now note, it is a different URL because we actually have a separate system that has real data that's been obfuscated so that we give you the opportunity to look at real data, but the students' names have been changed. So the URL is actually frontend-demo.letsgolearn.com. And so you'd go into that separate URL, log in with that Sandbox account, and now here we are. So I come here, I see my class. We have a bunch of different students of different grade ranges. But where I want to show you is I'm going to go into Active Pulse ELA. And this initially shows you how the reading data looks. So we see our students. We roll our mouse over high frequency words, word recognition, phonics, phonemic awareness, spelling, vocabulary comprehension. And we see all the different grade level scores. So this is really amazing. We see this student here has maxed out, so it's green in high frequency words and phonics, and they have a 6th grade comprehension score. And we look down, we see some other students here, like this one here is very minimal high frequency words, but they have some phonics score. So again, you could go ahead and look at the different type of students here. I'm going to go ahead and go into one of the reports for this one Glenn. I could look at the summary report or the detailed teacher report. I'm going to look at the detailed teacher report. And now we see how Glenn reads words. We actually have an analysis of how they're using different skills for decoding. How Glenn understands words. We see the information here. But you can go ahead and peruse this data. You can see it's really interesting. We can see exactly what phonics skills they have mastered. We see some recommended activities. The other report, which is really powerful, is a tool for special education, right? So if I go into one of these reports, I can go reports, special education. This allows me to mine the data. So I could see the different scores here, and I can go ahead and say, okay, let me take a look at the students' present levels. I click on phonics. Here's the present levels. Here's a profile written specifically for them. If I want to see what skills I need to work on next, I can go ahead and do that, hit refresh. And now we see what we need to work on next. Short vowel, consonant blends, long vowel, all spelled out exactly, okay? Again, this is a sandbox filled with data. Let me take a look at the math data real quickly. Now math has a lot more subtests. Initially, we're just looking at strand scores, total score, numbers and operation, measurement, data analysis, geometry, algebra. So you're probably used to seeing some data like this in some summative assessments. And again, this is a grade level score. But if I want to break it out and say, let's take a look at numbers and operations, I click down here and we see this is all the individual subtests, the 14 that make up numbers and operations. So this is very, very detailed data. Right? So let me go ahead and take a look at one of these students here. Detailed report. Run the report. Now in this particular student, I can go ahead and see these raw scores, grade level scores, where they're at, but I can now see exactly what we need to work on within the scope and sequences of numbers. So this is how you teach it. Right now the student's working on rounding, right? If we look at place value, the next thing the student Glenn needs to work on is place value decimals. They've already mastered thousands, 10,000. So this is an amazing scope and sequence that shows you exactly within each of the 44 subtests where they're at. And this is actually accurate at this level. This is not guessing or predicting. We're not saying the student is developmentally ready to work on this. We're saying they've mastered this skill. They now are working right here, right? Again, this powerful data drives instruction and inclusion as well as the best personalized instruction you can get. Okay, that's sort of it in a nutshell. You can go ahead and check things out. One thing you could do too is if you really want to see it in action, you go to our homepage, go to free product tours, and this is where we have a bunch of different tours that show different things. A lot of times if you click on the special education tab right here, you can see all the reports like the IEP tools in action. You can also see the instruction, formative, as well as a full assessment and how it works. All right, so some great demos there for you to sort of just see it in action. All right, thank you so much.